Hello, welcome back to another turn of War in the Pacific Admirals Edition Focus Pacific, which of course is my play-by-email game against Mevennos. Looks like we're starting off with a little invasion action off of Guam again as more of those troops unload. And Buin too, which is new. So he's starting to take some bases, looks like a little bit south of Rabaul and north of Guadalcanal. We may have something to say about that later. Sweeps over Changsha, sweeps over Singapore, but last turn we moved everything out of Singapore. I no longer have any fighters there. I still have some planes that were being repaired or damaged on the ground, and they might be bombed and destroyed this turn because I don't have any cap to put up over them. But I'm going to lose less planes overall this way than if I was fighting those Oscar sweeps. Sweeps over Clark Field. Again, I don't have any planes there. Some light bombing there. More sweeps. Some Sanya's bombing that base hex there at Luchao. He has a group of units about, I think, only one hex away from that base, so he's going to be softening it up before they try to invade. Again, trying to swap one of my corps there, but it's not good terrain for it. A little more bombing, a little bit more effective this time. Lots of little light, low-level bombing here going on in China. Yeah, pretty effective there. Again, he has a LCU, or I think two of them, just one hex away from this base, Pakoi, and he'll be trying to soften up before taking it. This is new. Some of my corps here at Tuyun. They're in pretty good terrain, though, so I don't think we're going to see worse losses than this. And 8 damage aircraft, I always like to see that. No losses. More sweeps over Singapore. It's kind of nice to see all these sweeps because I can just imagine how many planes we would have lost if they were still there fighting them. We'll pull a brave Sir Robin there. More zeros too. So yeah, he brought at least 2 more zero Sentais here to sweep Singapore. It's a good thing that we pulled out when we did. And already on to the afternoon air phase. A little recon going on. Bombing of Guam. These bombers really haven't done anything. I think it's because of the altitude. 12,000 feet, that's a tough altitude to bomb from if you're going after ground units. It can work well against airfields, especially on clear terrain and things, or if your target doesn't have good AA. But I have a coastal AA unit here putting up some flak, so it makes it tough for him. And again, that altitude is going to make it hard for him to be accurate and to do anything to my troops. And it turns out he doesn't. The only thing he does is burn some of my troops' supply from firing those AA guns. And if you think that War in the Pacific doesn't track something as small as firing some AA guns into the air, yes, it does. It's that detailed. Smart bombing there. Really short phase, really quiet phase. Looks like he's trying again at Aichang. My corps were pretty beat up. we're going to see how this goes. His armored core company is car company, I should say, is pretty beat up as well. Wow. Really nothing there. I don't know if both sides were exhausted or what. I only lose one destroyed squad. He loses one disabled squad. Oh, it was a bombardment attack. I should have paid closer attention. So he was just trying to do a bombardment, but it wasn't very effective. I'll take it. It'll give my troops a little time to recover. Takes Loyang. That was fine. I had moved my troops out of Loyang. My opponent actually asked me, he was a little confused. He's like, why are you giving me free bases in China? Why are you retreating in front of my troops? And the reason is that if I stay down here, if I stay down in all these flat lands and all this clear terrain down here, my Chinese troops, they cannot win in a straight up one-on-one fight with an equal number of AV from Japan. They are fatigued, they're demoralized, they have very, very high disablements. So if I try to fight him in unadvantageous terrain, I'm going to lose every time. So what I'm doing, I'd rather, instead of losing my troops fighting over a city that I'm going to lose easily anyway, I'd rather move my troops up into some better defensive terrain, some ×2 or some ×3 terrain, into that wooded rough, into that mountainous terrain. Some good mountains up here too. Into maybe a place like Cyan. Even though Cyan is clear, I can build up those forts really well. Basically, I just want to find a better place to use my AV. I'm going to be spending the Chinese AV. It's going to be used essentially as currency to buy me time. Those troops are not going to survive, but I can at least spend it wisely, I guess I should say, and get the most bang for my buck by making him pay to take those hexes. You can pay cheaply at a place like Loyang, but if I get into some mountainous terrain, it's going to be much more expensive, so to speak, for him. A couple divisions here, regiment and some field artillery. Nothing I have here can really stand up to it. I'll be really looking at reinforcing this area right here. I don't want this road or this road to be open to him. Attack again up in some mountainous terrain here where I've moved a unit. He actually has less AV than me. Once it's adjusted, significantly less, but I still take more casualties. That's that's the lot of the Chinese. Poor morale, poor experience, and it shows up in the report. But I hold on to the hex for one more turn. Shock attack up here. I really don't have anything pretty understandable that forced out here. Odds 405 to 1. And he doesn't take any losses while I take some significant one. I'm surprised that neither of these troops, this corps and this army, were destroyed. Yeah, 2 divisions. I'm not going to be able to fight against that. One of the things in this mod that's a little bit different than in stock is that the Manchukuo garrison here, which in stock really is there to prevent the Soviets from going in war in the Pacific. If you drop below a certain level of AV in the Manchukuo area, it'll activate the Soviets. So you don't want to do it as the Japanese. You can extract some AV, but not a whole lot, because you need to stay above that level. In Focus Pacific, he has about 6,000 additional AV, a whole lot, in the Manchukuo area and the areas around it near Korea that he can move into the Chinese theater. So expect to see a lot of these really good crack divisions coming in from Manchukuo, hitting me in eastern China here. And I'm not going to be able to really hold up against that, and that's okay. This is a ahistorical mod, I should say, alternate history mod, ahistorical as in one word, not that it's a historical mod. But it means that things are going to play out differently than they did historically, and that's fine. That's what it's all about. It's about creating a fresh experience. Takes another base here, moving south on Luzon, and deliberate attack at Guam. I think this is too early. We're going to see. I think he should have let his troops get acclimated a little bit from being on the island, reduce some of those disablements, and it looks like I'm right here. So he reduces fortifications, which is good for him, but his assault odds still were not good, 1 to 5, and he takes about 10 times the losses that I do. Amphibious assaults in War in the Pacific they're not easy. There's kind of an art to doing them. And when first doing an amphibious assault, there's often a auto shock attack that goes in that you have to be aware of. But after that, after you've established a beachhead, you have to be more careful about it. And again, what I would have done is I would have waited for those troops to get on shore. I would have waited for the disablements to go down a little bit after being offloaded, do a few more bombardment attacks, bring a surface task force in to bombard the hex, to up the disablements of my defenders, and then do an attack. And I think he would have had a lot more luck if he had done that. But that's okay. I can't complain. It was a positive outcome for me. So, deliberate attack here, of course, forces the fragment of Lark Battalion, which used to be at Rabaul there, forces it back 1 more hex. That's fine. And the reason that this was so easy for him, I took 10 times the casualties he did, is because that's not really the Lark Battalion. That's a fragment of the Lark Battalion. Most of Lark Battalion has been picked up by Catalina flying boats and is now at Port Moresby, just like the Rabaul base force is now at Port Moresby, being hoovered up by my flying boats. So he's going to take Rabaul, he's going to take Kaiving, no matter what. And my forces there aren't really going to be a speed bump to him. So what I try to do in these situations is pull those troops out to a more defensible base where they can actually do some good, rather than them being run over and destroyed right away. I bombard back. Really no reason to do so. I need to turn that off and make sure they're not bombarding and wasting supplies to do that. Yeah, still about a 3 to 1 ratio there. And that's the turn. Thank you for watching.